So Joe Biden shoved his foot in his mouth in one of his live streams. Here's the moment that went viral.
No sitting president has ever done this. Never, never, never. No Republican president has done this. No Democratic president. We have racists, and they've existed. They've tried to get elected president. He's the first one that has.
He's the first racist that's gotten elected president in the United States. Even if you're as kind as humanly possible in your interpretation of what he's saying here, you know, you would say, oh, he means modern American history, not all of American history. Okay, but even that's bullshit. Even that's not true. The short memories we have in the Trump era, because people are so quick to want to burn Trump, that they're just willing to, like, totally forgive the entire Republican establishment, which has been running on the Southern strategy since the 1960s. They're going to forgive all that. You're going to forgive all that because Trump bad. They're going to forgive the Iraq War. By the way, when you look at what happened with the Iraq War, let me ask you a question. Would George W. Bush have waged an illegal and offensive war on a country that didn't attack us if the people in that country had white skin? Would he have killed 200,000 Swedish people? Is that something that would have happened? No. So can you say there's certainly a tinge of bigotry in the decision-making process on that front? Listen, it's more about the geopolitical, strategy and jacking the natural resources and all that stuff. I'm willing to grant all that. But there is a certain level of dehumanization that's reserved for black and brown people that is not extended to white folks. So for him to say he's the most racist president, or he's the first elected racist or something, I'm done even being kind in my interpretation. He said what he said. I'm not willing to grant him the he only meant modern American history. Like I said, that's wrong also. But if you look at all of American history, at least 12 presidents owned slaves. 12. You have the Native American genocide. You have Japanese internment. I mean, keep it real. When you look at the history of the United States, it is absolutely littered with vicious bigots. There was a time when it was just the duh position. It was just the default position. I mean, even, Lincoln, free the slaves, but go back and look at some of the things he said when it comes to the races. It ain't pretty. It doesn't mesh with what we view today as the norm. So for him to say something like this, and guys, here's the main point, and this is why we're talking about this. There is this instinct among neoliberal corporate Democrats, and the instinct is define Trump as the aberration from the norm. And that is a fundamentally incorrect worldview. Trump is not the aberration from the norm. He's actually the culmination of the norm of American politics. So the fact that you have a totally rotted, corrupt neoliberal establishment led to the rise of the fake populist Donald Trump who pretended to be an outsider who was going to change stuff. It's not like everything was fine, everything was going swimmingly, and then this one bad guy came in power, and he made all the bad decisions, and we just need to get back to that better, calmer time beforehand when everything was fine. But everything before wasn't fine. And you can't wash away the sins of not just the Republican establishment, but also the Democratic establishment. You can't just say, before him, everything was hunky-dory. Because make no mistake about it, that is exactly what Joe Biden believes. Before Trump, everything was hunky-dory. And he was the vice president for 8 years before Trump. So of course he's going to defend, his legacy, his time in office, his decision-making. But he wouldn't reckon with the fact that, at least in part, it was because of Biden's decisions that led to the rise of Donald Trump. So this is this instinct that I need to go away. This is this instinct that drives me crazy. And it's people who, it's sort of like a lazy assumption that disregards the preponderance of the evidence as to just how broken, corrupt, rotten this system is. So stop acting like Trump is a unique evil among U.S. presidents. Trump actually fits in swimmingly. He's the culmination of American imperialism, American capitalism, a broken established order and status quo. He's the culmination of that. So he's the logical outgrowth of a system like we had. He's not, somebody who came in, got power, and the only reason he got power is because all his people are irredeemable deplorables, and he made all the bad decisions, and we just need to go back to how it was beforehand. That is definitely Joe Biden's mindset, and it's definitely incorrect, and this is just like an extreme version of just how much he believes that worldview, to the point where he'd casually say, yeah, he's the first racist elected. Stunning ignorance.